sustainable development without resultant transformation is like talking of quantitative growth without qualitative change.
5 years ago, the government of Uganda made a commitment to deliver on the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development and its associated Sustainable Development Goals, the SDGs.
During the period of the 69th session of the United Nations General Assembly, the UN member states have finally agreed on the all-important SDGs, 17 of them. The convergence of analysis and solutions, the convergence of diagnosis and prescription is a landmark in the history of mankind.
It was in September 2015 that the General Assembly adopted the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development.
At the heart of the 2030 Agenda was a pledge to leave no one behind. It meant that the 17 Sustainable Development Goals and targets should be met for everyone, with a particular focus on the poorest, most vulnerable, and further behind, people who indeed are often left out.
The government put in place several mechanisms to accelerate implementation of the SDGs, including appointing the minister in charge of general duties as focal point minister for the SDGs.
The government developed a multi-stakeholder SDG coordination framework, which was anchored within the mainstream government coordination arrangements. This framework defines and delegates roles and responsibilities for coordinating the implementation of the SDGs.
In 2019, government worked with the United Nations to establish the SDG Secretariat in the Office of the Prime Minister.
We in Uganda are devoting a reasonable amount of time and resources to follow through on the implementation of the agenda and establish links between the SDGs and our national priorities.
The SDG Secretariat, under the Office of the Prime Minister, is charged with, among other things, supporting the implementation of the coordination framework, monitoring implementation and progress of the 2030 Agenda, and building strategic partnerships with the private sector on financing and innovation for the SDGs.
We are deliberately working to ensure that the SDGs are implemented in an effective and timely manner.
Several milestones have since been achieved. These include translation of the SDGs into 10 local languages to ensure that the agenda is localized at all levels across the country. In 2016, Uganda was only able to report on 41 indicators with data points. These are now up to 92 indicators with data available. Uganda's third National Development Plan is at least 90% aligned to the SDGs. And in July 2020, government presented Uganda's second voluntary national review report to the UN High-Level Political Forum.
Since 2016, Uganda has made good progress on all the SDGs. Before the COVID-19 outbreak, the economy had registered strong recovery and was projected to grow at 6.0% in 2019-2020. Other achievements include electricity access rate from 14.5% in 2015 to 28% in 2019, reduction in unemployment rate from 33.8% in 2013 to 9.7% in 2017, increases in proportion of national paved roads from 80% in 2017 to 93% in 2019, and growth in manufacturing from 4.6% in 2018 to 7.1% in 2019. The number of people covered by a mobile network by technology from 20.2 million in 2015 to 25.6 million in 2019.
The government recently signed the United Nations Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework with the United Nations to steer implementation of the third National Development Plan and the SDGs.
Before 2019, we had what we called the United Nations Development Assistance Framework. It was really about assistance. It represented about 30% of our programming in country, and the accountability to the national framework was not that clear. With the reform, we have moved to the United Nations Sustainable Development Cooperation Framework. It demonstrates the shift from assistance to partnership.
People, the planet, prosperity, peace and partnerships are at the heart of the SDGs. And although the COVID-19 pandemic has exposed sustainable development challenges, the outlook is positive.
Uganda's resolve to achieve the SDGs remains unshaken. Our path to recovery must and will be aligned to our SDG journey. As we continue on this collective journey, we commit to our promise to the people of Uganda and to the planet. No one will be left behind.